Deathclaws are the next step in human evolution, and that's got to be the most terrifying news you've heard all year. Welcome to Think Tank. I started this episode off trying to write about the history of the Deathclaws, more like an info dump or interesting facts sort of episode, but now I'm writing about how humans and Deathclaws are in a fight to see who the alpha species is. Let's start at the very beginning of the Deathclaw's life, if you can call it that. Deathclaws were developed by the US government pre-Great War as a replacement to the modern soldier. They were trying to create genetically superior super soldiers. The American scientists started with the base DNA of a Jackson chameleon, then added trace amounts of other animal DNA to fill in the gaps. Very Jurassic Park if you ask me, but stay with me. As far as I can tell, the pre-war records don't indicate that a viable Deathclaw was ever created. That was until the Master refined the Deathclaw by further manipulating their DNA using the FEV. The resulting creature is what we know today. To quote a woman named Beth from The Hub, the Deathclaw is the most evil thing to rise out of the ashes after the war. Some say it's a powerful ghost from the war that haunts the lands. It's no ghost. It's as real as you and me. It's 20 feet tall with teeth as big as your arm. It's some kind of demon that found its way here when the world was engulfed in fire. This sounds to me like pre-war science pushed by a man whose mind had been twisted by the forced evolutionary virus. Once the newly modified Deathclaws were set loose in the wasteland, they began to multiply and expand. So from the year 2161 to the present day, the Deathclaws have been increasing their numbers and expanding their hunting grounds all across the wasteland. Although it seems the Master's meddling wasn't enough, the Enclave decided to do the same, exposing the Deathclaws to even more FEV to see if they could make them more intelligent. Once again, the hope was to create a super soldier to help the Enclave with the tasks too risky for their normal foot soldiers. Their project succeeded and the Deathclaws gained the ability to speak and understand language with varying degrees of success, and could follow orders without hesitation. While the project's final form didn't pan out as the Enclaves had hoped, the Deathclaws did become their allies for a time, although it wasn't long before they started to doubt the morality of their masters. These intelligent Deathclaws were soon abandoned, left to inhabit the now empty Vault 13, until a team of Enclave soldiers led by Frank Horrigan massacred them in their new home. Out of all of Vault 13's Deathclaws, only one survived the attack. It is not known at this time where his road has taken him, but it's quite possible that he is still alive and at large in the wasteland. So far we have covered that Deathclaws are reptilian and that there have been 3 major generations. The pre-war Deathclaws that remain the subject of rumor and speculation, the Master's mutated Deathclaws, and now the Enclave's intelligent Deathclaws. But I'm here to tell you that there are even more. Between the Master's group and the Enclave's group, I mentioned that the Deathclaws were expanding at a rapid rate. If you head east into America's Midwest, you'll find a group of Deathclaws that have been busy expanding and breeding in the wild. And among those Deathclaws, a specific group has been evolving the old-fashioned way. That group is known as the hairy Deathclaw, and I'm not talking hairy as in feathers. We're talking about actual patches of fur. For the past 36 years, these Deathclaws have been allowed to roam free, untouched by organizations like the Enclave or people like the Master. Meaning from 2161 to 2197, these Deathclaws haven't had any further run-ins with the FEV. Let me give you a rundown of the basic traits of the hairy Deathclaw. This subspecies resides within the former states of Illinois, Kansas, and Missouri, and has a much more mammalian appearance than their counterparts. Now, as I mentioned before, these Deathclaws have patches of fur, but that's not their only mammalian trait. They're reported to carry themselves upright as opposed to hunchback Deathclaws we've come to know, and have an even more human-like body type. These hairy Deathclaws have also been noted to have significantly more developed arms than the original Deathclaws, with more human-like muscle definition and articulation. These Deathclaws have also developed the ability to speak after multiple generations, influenced by their interactions with humans, fast breeding, and rapid evolutionary progression. However, it is not until after infancy that they gain the ability to speak. Up until that point, they tend to act more like the animals that they once were. What this shows is that somewhere down the evolutionary line of the Deathclaws, they were given the DNA from humans or even primates. Whether this was introduced during their time with the Master or through some sick experiment done by the US government is unknown. The US wanted super soldiers that were capable of following orders without hesitation. The Master wanted to create the ultimate beings, something more than just man. A super being that would call this wasteland home. Perhaps this was his goal all along. Perhaps this was inevitable. But one thing is certain, Deathclaws have the potential to be so much more than just the things that go bump in the night. They're watching, they're waiting, and only time will tell whether the wasteland can survive against their savage might. So, tell me, do you think Deathclaws are the next step in natural evolution? Is it their time to rise, and are humans going extinct? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the wasteland.